Hi, and glad to have you with us on this Friday. Certainly glad it's Friday as well on this 22nd day of April as we're starting to wind down this month of 2016. We're going to do so on a warming trend, I do believe. Temperatures will be on a consistent note into the 80s for much of next week. They'll also be accompanied by some chances of showers and thunderstorms with that heat pretty much each and every day. All of that follows what is still shaping up to be a beautiful, beautiful weekend. More on that in more detail in just a few moments. Headlines tonight, coverage in brief of the Moffa County Fiscal Court meeting yesterday, the Moffa County Board of Education meeting last night. 2 people charged with trafficking and methamphetamine arrested by local police in a parking lot just earlier today. We'll talk about those charges and other news and information, and of course a few announcements before we leave you for the weekend. Some numbers today that are just simply troublesome, scary, and unnerving, to be quite honest. We understand that a study just released hours ago, earlier this morning, says that suicide rates in the United States have climbed to their highest level in nearly 3 decades. A federal data analysis has determined that there were increases in every age group except for one, and that was considered to be older adults. More so for women and middle-aged Americans, whose suicide rates had largely stayed the same or had been falling since the mid-50s or so. Suicide rates for middle-aged women, referring to ages 45 to 64, increased by 63% over the course of the study, and they rose by 43% for men in that same age range. And that is indeed, without a doubt, the largest increase for males of any age. The overall suicide rate climbed 24% when you take into account numbers from 1999 through 2014, for which the study looks at. This is all according to the National Center for Health Statistics. They released the study just earlier today. It also found in part the increases actually were significant enough that they actually raised the nation's suicide rate up to 13 for every 100,000 people. It's not been that high since the mid-80s. The rate rose by 2% a year starting in 2006 and continued to do so until 2014. And that is twice the annual rate in the earlier period of the study. In all, it says that nearly 43,000 people, precisely 42,773 people, are believed to have died from suicide in just 2014. In 99, that number came in at just over 29,000. In some other data for you, Sears Holdings is closing 78 stores, 68 Kmart, 10 Sears stores across much of the nation. That's about 5% of its actual store base, with its nearly 1,700 stores intact. 2 Kmart stores, we also understand, will be closing a little bit later than the rest. We'll get to that in just a second. But the company, which has been losing money for quite some time, said back in February that it was going to speed up the closing of unprofitable stores after a challenging holiday season. It said the move announced this week, it says, is expected to generate a meaningful level of cash from liquidation of store inventories and from the sale or sublease of some of the related real estate associated with some of the locations. All 10 Sears stores and nearly all the Kmart stores are going to close in late July. 2 Kmart stores are going to close in mid-September. And yes, it does, as you may well have already heard, affect the Kmart store right here that served the viewing area for many, many years. The closings follow a comprehensive review, it says, of the company's locations that took into account store performance and the timing of lease expirations. Sears Holdings has struggled for years with declining sales, just not able to keep up with companies that sell appliances, a lot of the big names, of course. Everything else, or everything, not just the appliances, but as is the case with Amazon.com, which is, of course, now is one of their competitors. The company has been selling assets to try to generate some cash, but in 2011 it operated 4,000 stores. That number's down to 1,700. In the fourth quarter, which does include the holiday shopping season, revenue at stores at least a year, that's stores that were open for at least a year, fell almost 7% at Sears, 7.2% at Kmart. The company saw its fourth quarter loss widen to $580 million from a $159 million loss just a year ago. Sears didn't say how many workers are going to be affected, but we do know in Kentucky there are 2 stores in Louisville, one in E-Town, one in Maysville, and yes, the Paintsville store too, included in that list of closings. Moffa County Fiscal Court met in regular session yesterday. Several items on the agenda: standard operating business, a transfer of $20,000 from the general fund to the jail fund, $20,000 from the general fund to the LGEA fund. They also talked about a budget increase ordinance where they, as I understand, did not budget for $2,056,000, which was collected. There was also an AOC reimbursement estimated for the upcoming budget for $216,000. They approved the annual in-kind contributions for Moffa County senior citizens, and they also began the process to accept money they hope to receive for the tire grant, as they have been having for years, as often as funds would allow. An appointment to the Big Sandy Ad Board, actually 2, mentioned and approved. The Judge Executive Charles Hardin requested that A.B. Conley and Kathy Walker be named to the Big Sandy Ad Board. Also, speaking for the Big Sandy Ad Board, Regina Hall McClure, she described a resolution that was needed to be adopted for the second time around, a second attempt to get grant funds for the restroom facilities to be established at the Civil War Park.
You should have a copy of a resolution there to the Land and Water Conservation Fund. This is a grant to get money to assist with the restroom construction at the battlefield. We submitted this application last year and we didn't get it, but I kind of felt like maybe because we still had an open project with Land and Water, which is the picnic shelter that we're building up there, it might have maybe hindered us a little bit. So I'd like to submit it again just to see if we can get it this time. And there's also going to be more money in that pot this year than there was last year for the whole state. So we would probably have a much better chance of obtaining that.
Is there a motion to approve that? I like motion. I second the motion. Motion been made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion carries.
And also on the subject of the Civil War Park, there was the opening of a single bid submitted for the construction of the shelter to be placed at the facility. The single bid, which McClure said did meet all the requirements and was just as expected, a few $1,000s over bid.
They did satisfy all the requirements. It's a little bit over budget, a couple $1,000s, but I anticipated that because our quote was from 2013. So
how much is it?
Just a couple $1,000s. I really expected that. And everything else looks in order.
How much was it for total?
It is for $28,950.
Make a motion that we accept that bid. Is there a second? Second. Motion been made second. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
And lastly, just to add on the note of the Civil War Park, equipment moved in place at the first of the week, and they are ready to begin construction on the walking trail and to get ready for the parking area and that new shelter to be established. I'll be right back. For high-speed internet starting at 15 meg for all of your gaming, movie, home, and business solutions, or to watch TV, including your favorite local channels without a contract, with hundreds of channels and digital and HD quality, and to stay connected 24/7 with friends and family, a direct line to 911, or to give your business the link it needs, choose telephone service you know is always there. Just click on their link on this site to find out how affordable the latest technology in communications can be. Foothills Communications. The Moffa County Board of Education, rotating in their meeting sites, held their meeting last night in regular session at South Moffa Elementary. Kevin Owens, Director of Finance, outlined $6,456,000 of new market tax credit funds that have been reimbursed to the Moffa County School District. The school district receiving those funds must first pay for construction costs up front, submit receipts for reimbursement to which they have received to date, once again, $6,456,000, plus there is $631,000 in receipts that are being revised at this time and expected to be reimbursed for in the near future. That leaves $3 million, he says, in expenditures on the gymnasium and family resource centers and elsewhere in the new project. As for the new project, Bill Cobb, construction manager, says they are still online and on schedule to have the school substantially completed by June the 27th and able to turn over to the school system to allow to prep for the upcoming school year. He says items such as flooring, curbs in the parking and outside area, and gymnasium are all coming towards or near completion. Director of Pupil Personnel Brian Conley said the school district currently is running about 91% as far as attendance is concerned, and that a very late flu season with flu cases as recent as this past week is a result for that number not being as high as they had hoped for. And he also spoke of the several Harold Whitaker Middle School students which have been deemed truant and are being placed into their new program.
We are doing our truancy diversion pre-complaint conference with the middle school. I know I've spoken about that in the last two meetings. That date is Monday, the 25th, and we have 45 letters sent out to middle school students and their parents, 45 kids who are truant, that will fall under that umbrella to be a part of the truancy diversion program. Judge Prater will be at that conference on Monday. Our CDW will be there, I will be there, and of course the parents and the students are all invited to be there as well. It seems late in the year to be having something like that, but that is a 12-month surveillance. So that is not a surveillance of these students' attendance just till the end of this school year. That will run till April 25th, 2017, once they are signed up for that in that pre-complaint.
Conley also referred to House Bill 111, which just recently passed, which is also geared toward seeing school districts be in session no later than June the 6th. McGoffin County's last day right now is slated for May the 25th. House Bill 111 drops the minimum 170-day instructional day requirement, but schools must still meet the 1,062-hour minimum. For McGoffin County, it would give the option of cutting 2 days off of the class schedule. However, they felt with education and activities in mind that it was best to leave as it was, with May the 25th still the last day set for students. And speaking of the school calendar, the board discussed and approved the school calendar for the upcoming school year. The staff was polled, and with 263 votes, there was a winner with 169 votes in support of school starting on August the 10th for staff and August the 11th for students. Conley says that means they will have 85 instructional days in the fall and 85 instructional days in the spring. Christmas break will have one work day less than before on that part of the calendar, and the last day for students will be May the 9th. And of course, that's without any snow days figured in. It was also unanimous that the later start date would be much more acceptable with such a big transition ahead of the school system with the new McGoffin County High School, all the changes that will relate to as far as students going to different schools, new bus routes, and the like. One last point of discussion was accepting bids for mowing contracts for North and South McGoffin Elementaries and the McGoffin County High School, the new McGoffin County High School, mind you. The lowest bid was for $2,880 a month. That is to mow all three of those sites 2 times per month for 6 months. And feeling that was a larger cost than what they were expecting and did not want to take on at this time, they tabled it for the time being before adjourning. Just a couple of quick announcements and reminders on tonight's McGoffin Farm Bureau community calendar. It will be Monday, this coming Monday, and each week there are more people showing up to join in the rail trail walk bike activities provided by the McGoffin County Diabetes Coalition and their multiple community partners. About 50 people showed up last week, and every time you do show up, they give away some really cool prizes. Fitbits and iPods and more. And every time you show up, you're registered to win a really nice high-end bicycle at the end of each month for the next 2 months, for the end of April and the last time in May. This goes through May the 23rd. Everyone is encouraged to attend, all age groups, and they'll meet this coming Monday, 5:30, at the Jane Bashir Trailhead there in the Meadows area of the Dawkins Trail. lastly, before I go to break, a reminder, don't forget the Dayton group is going to be in the Ramey Park tomorrow from about 1 till 3, hoping that anyone who has anything nice to say about all those nice people comes and share those memories with them tomorrow. They're putting together a little remembrance in honor of their 50th anniversary in Eastern Kentucky. And also, don't forget about the horse show down at the Sayersville Equestrian Park tomorrow afternoon. Gates open at 2:30. The horse show starts at 4, just $5 to get in. All this put together in honor of Child Abuse Prevention Awareness Month. So they hope that you'll join them for that tomorrow, starting at 4 at the Sayersville Equestrian Park on 460 headed west out of Sayersville. And that's the last thing that I have for calendar announcements, but not the last bit of news. Meth arrest, your weather forecast, and more when I come back. Checking jail records earlier today, I discovered that 2 people in Moffa County were arrested on trafficking, specifically trafficking in a controlled substance believed to be methamphetamine after a significant amount was taken into custody by sheriff's deputies. Sheriff's Deputy Neil Adams appears to be the one who signed the citation, with a witness being Jeremiah Watson of the Sayersville City Police Department. Adams noting in his citation that after receiving several complaints of possible drug trafficking in a nearby parking lot in the city of Sayersville, he responded and observed what appeared to be just that. I was unable to reach Adams prior to airtime, but I was able to get a copy of police citations which had been filed at the clerk's office in regards to the arrest of 2 individuals, Gregory N. Trusty and Laken D. Minix. The narrative on the citation for Trusty says that the deputy had received several complaints of the above subject selling methamphetamine in the Sayersville area, and that he also observed the subject in the McGoffin County Plaza parking lot with several different vehicles pulling up and staying a short period of time and then pulling away, and it appeared to be drug transactions taking place. He says he approached the subject and was given verbal consent by Trusty to search the vehicle. He also notes that while searching his vehicle, he observed the subject throwing something up underneath the back of the vehicle. And upon search of that, he found what he suspected to be methamphetamine, 15 baggies of what he believes to be methamphetamine, and he says the suspect tossed up underneath the vehicle. They all appeared to have been bagged and weighted out for sale. He also has a similar narrative on that of Minix, saying that she too was behind the vehicle when the drugs were tossed, and she too was charged with the same charges. Both are facing public intoxication charges, as well as trafficking in a controlled substance first degree, and tampering with physical evidence. Both were lodged in the Big Sandy Jail. Local authorities also responded to a couple of non-injury accidents today. The first, not seen here, was on the Bear Branch Hill on 460 West. On the Bloomington side of the hill, a student going to Moorhead, back to school on a Friday, maybe coming home from school, nevertheless lost control in the curve. The vehicle did go on to his side, but the driver and occupant refused medical treatment on scene. Glad to report. Similar case here, also on rain-slicking roads. The operator of this pickup truck coming out of Route 7 towards Sayersville on his way to work earlier today lost control on some rain-slicking roads that hadn't seen any moisture for a while. His vehicle, too, went off the roadway and turned onto his side in the ditch, but he, too, fortunately refused medical treatment at the scene. All right, time to put the lid on this one with your Licking Valley RECC forecast. 64 degrees out there. The rain has gone a long way to cool things off, and will not rebound a whole lot more than this for tomorrow's daytime high. I suspect we'll fall to 51 tonight. Showers are ending, and we saw some pretty good downpours. I saw some pretty good hail today. Just didn't have time to get the pictures transferred over to the show, but we picked up some hail in some parts of the county, and definitely some heavy rain there for a while. Hadn't seen that for quite some time. Nevertheless, the clouds will stick around, hang tough tonight, and they will be around early tomorrow. Your Saturday, though, we'll see skies becoming sunny by tomorrow afternoon, and maybe even in the early morning hours, but we'll still be in the cool side of things. For your Saturday, mostly cloudy, becoming sunny, and a high right around 69 degrees. Clear skies by tomorrow night, and a bit cool with a low of 45. Your Sunday, though, looks to see the 80s return, and once they do, 80, a little fog at the onset on your Sunday, but warming up nicely with a low of 54 on the back end of Sunday, but mostly clear after a little fog start to finish. And like I said, I expect to see the 80s throughout the entire forecast period and basically throughout most all of next week. Yeah, 83 on Monday, mostly sunny and clear. It's going to be rather warm, clear and calm. The calm will end into your Tuesday. We have a 40% chance of showers and storms that'll go into effect on Tuesday with temperatures still near 80. Glad it's Friday. By Wednesday of next week, shower and thunderstorm chances also stick right around 40% with daytime highs sticking in the low 80s. Thursday of next week, a 50% chance of showers and thunderstorms, more clouds than sun, but still low 80s. Well, I know. I think I say it, this is so I say it every evening, definitely every Friday. It has been a full week of news here on the program. We want to thank you so much for sticking with us, tuning in, and being a part of the show. And yes, it's going to be a full weekend of gathering the news. I do plan on attending the Bow Wow Meow Barbecue tomorrow evening, 7 to 11 at the Paintsville Country Club. Their big fundraiser. They're going to have a lot of fun, entertainment, and a great meal. If you can, stop and join them and support their cause. I suspect that we'll have a story to share on that next Monday, as well as some other news we're already following. So enjoy your beautiful weekend ahead, and we'll see you next time, Monday night, for more of your news today.